Minnesota. Hope you all had a super weekend. Today on our AM Minnesota show, it is a delight to have in studio some folks involved with SCORE. I'm going to tell you what SCORE is all about. As I was going to say Pete Johnson, but he's not with us. Arlen Burmeister is. He's the administrator of this program, and Diane Wilson is a counselor, and she's also in studio today. Tell us about a special event that's coming to Faribault that you can attend. It's called the Leadership Connection, a presentation by Eric Thurwanger. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes, you did.
It'll be on September 30th from 11:30 until 1 at South Central College here in Faribault. There's a $20 fee that includes lunch, and I believe that Diane and Arlen are cooking that.
Yeah.
Anyway, $20 fee includes lunch and materials. You can discover your greater purpose as a leader and unlock your potential, inspiring your team to set and accomplish important goals. And again, we'll get more details in a moment. Deadline to register, by the way, is September 28th, 1 week from today. You can register at your local chamber, either here in Faribault, Owatonna, or Northfield. The special event coming up on September 30th. Before I get to our guest today, I'm going to plug some upcoming shows. Tomorrow, I go to church, and Lord knows I need more of that. I'll be at the St. John's United Church of Christ in the Wheeling Township. Craig Keller and maybe some other folks will be telling us all about German Fest. German Fest coming up on Sunday, September 27th. Be a German buffet. Serving will be from 11 until 2 and then again from 4 until 6. No reservations are needed. And they're going to have lots of old-time music there, too. The Ray Sands Band will be there. The Stuttgart 3, Tim Klein and his friends. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a polka praise service. And frankly, I think that's the way to worship. It's just awesome. No tapping, that's just so cool. Really enjoy those polka masses and polka services. So, that's tomorrow. Don't Drink the Water is a play that the Paradise Community Theater is performing. Their final weekend is this weekend. We have more details on Wednesday. We have some folks from South Central College scheduled to be with us on Thursday of this week. And then next year, the Traveling Vietnam Wall is coming to Faribault. It'll be here next year, and we're going to talk about that on our AM Minnesota show on Friday. So we got some great programs coming your way. Let's get to know our guest today. First of all, Diane, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it. How long have you been a counselor with SCORE?
A little over 7 years.
You obviously enjoy it.
I do enjoy it very much. It's very interesting work. It's very selfishly self-satisfying to be able to mentor someone that is looking to get into business or is in business but having a dilemma of some sort, and they need someone to help them through it and to see them succeed.
Have you been a business owner previously?
Yes.
That helps.
Oh, absolutely. It helps to be able to understand the financial end of the business, the hiring processes, yes, it's just the whole 9 yards. If you've not been there, it would be a little tough to be a mentor to someone else who is in business.
And Arlen Burmeister is the administrator of the program, is that right?
I am, and actually what the administrator means or does is that as we get requests for mentoring, in other words, if you were a small business owner and you wanted some assistance, you would probably find us by going onto score.org, which is a national website, and as you plug in your information, the zip code becomes the key. So national then sends that back to the area which has the closest zip code, and then it'll come to me. We will then look for a mentor within our area. And when I say our area, our chapter is, we talk like it's an umbrella that serves an area of Rice County, of Steele County, of Freeborn, Faribault, and Waseca, and Blue Earth, and Nicollet.
All right. We get more details about that when AM Minnesota can program. It's a nonprofit. And I'm going to let him tell you more about what SCORE stands for, what it means, SCORE. And then Diane Wilson is a counselor, a former business owner. What kind of a business did you have, Diane?
Farming.
Oh, a farmer.
Yes.
A farming business.
Yes. As well as I am a former banker. I worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Owatonna, and I worked in economic development. So I have a rather broad range of.
Did you specialize in farm loans?
At the bank, do you mean?
Right.
No, I did not, no. And for primarily the reason that I knew too many of those people, and that too much of a personal situation isn't always good.
I'll be darned.
You can't keep your perspective quite as clear when it's someone that you grew up with or whatever, when you're looking at a
business. But in a small
loan.
town bank, how do you avoid that? Most small towns, you know everybody.
People that I had known really, really well just went to one of the other loan officers.
Oh, okay. But you did do loans.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. And so I very well understand what the business plan means and how, as a banker, how you want that to look. And so that's one of the key things that I do mentor people on is how to draft that business plan and what needs to go into it so that the banker will accept it and they can get a cleaner visit with their banker if their business plan's in place before they go.
Arlen, I would assume that SCORE means something. I mean, it stands for something, the letters SCORE.
SCORE did when it started. It was Service Corps of Retired Executives, if you follow that out. That's an acronym. Sure. That's the way it started. That has been dropped, and SCORE now is a standalone name, and we say SCORE for the life of your business. That's the tagline now, for the life of your business, whether you're starting or existing or whatever it might be. But you're right, it was an acronym in the beginning.
But no more.
No more. It's still SCORE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit. In fact, it was started, and we are funded by the SBA. And so nationally, the fundings come out to districts. And in our situation, Minnesota is a district. And there are like 7 SCORE chapters within this district, of which, as I shared, we have one that's sort of an umbrella, and then within that umbrella we have the links, and Faribault is one of those links, and it's through the chamber here is the office of SCORE for the Faribault. So if people want information, they could call the chamber office and they would connect us in all ways, and we find a mentor then, depending on what your needs and the skills of a mentor.
Now the SBA is the Small Business Administration.
I'm sorry, that's correct, yes.
And this is the United States Small Business Administration.
Yes, it is. And there are many fingers of that Small Business Administration. Another one is the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, and so they're partners and brothers and sisters of SCORE, if you will.
These are resources that people really need to use if they're thinking about starting up a business, or even if they have started a business, right?
Absolutely. The most unique thing about SCORE is that we are completely free and confidential. So it's the free part of it that really is of value to these people, that it won't cost them anything to visit with someone that has expertise in the area of which they need help.
This is Chapter 710.
Chapter 710. It's a South Central Minnesota SCORE, Chapter 710. And we were just designated a chapter probably like 4 years ago or so from National. Prior to that, there were branches. We were extensions of Rochester, or southeastern Minnesota was one, and they were sponsoring us until we grew into the point where we could become our own chapter.
You serve a lot of people?
Right now we have, I think, somewhere in the area of 120 clients that are being mentored, and we have maybe 33 or 4 mentors in this area that are working with those people. In fact, as I was talking with Diane as we came in today, just this morning there were 2 new clients that needed assistance, and just to give you an idea of the service area, one was from Janesville and another one was from Vernon Center, so they come from all areas. So now we find a mentor then that will go out and chat with them.
Yeah,
that has the expertise that they're looking for.
Right. It's neat that this resource is available.
We think it's really keen. A lot of people, particularly entrepreneurs, if they're just looking to get into business, they don't necessarily have the funds to hire a professional counselor, and by professional I made that sound like we're not, because we are. But a paid for
consultant.
Consultant, yes, and so here they can get advice, and if say Gordy, it was you and you wanted advice on, say, your cash flow.
I do need some advice on my cash flow, but I don't own a business.
And I was assigned to talk with you. If, as we discuss things, we find there's maybe what your needs are beyond that cash flow, maybe you need some advice in some areas I don't have knowledge of, then I just bring in another mentor that does. And so we can take care of you in any and all manners.
And again, it's free.
It's free, and it's confidential. We will not discuss the fact that we've chatted with you. If you want to tell people, that's wonderful. We don't have a problem with that at all.
Sure.
But people will not hear about it from us.
You hear the term, we're using term mentor and counselor and
right.
almost interchangeably, but we think of SCORE as a mentoring situation. When we say mentor, it means we will stay with that person. We can have people that have been mentoring an organization or a person for 5 years or more. We don't just go in, bam, bam, and then walk away. We'll stay. Maybe we come back quarterly. We become almost friends, if you will, you know, and they just want to have someone to chat with and bounce things off. So mentoring is really the key. They have a mentor.
Did you have a business too, Arlen?
I did. At one time, I was a college administrator at one time in my life, and then I ended up with an insurance agency of 30 salespeople. So that was constantly recruiting, hiring. We were dealing with markets. We were dealing with a business plan to set each of those individuals up in their communities.
And unfortunately, there was probably some firing that happened too. That's another area of expertise, especially in small town. That's difficult.
Absolutely, and you know, firing is right, but it's sometimes we jump on that, and what we need to do is try to strengthen that person in some ways. You know, too often maybe we do put a person in an area where they shouldn't be, and so I think as mentors and as owners and so on, we should try to find a place for that person. Basically, everyone is good. Maybe we've just put them in a wrong position, and so that's part of mentoring, is to figure out how we can move staff around. No one likes to cut a family off.
Where are you housed?
We're operating, I'm in Owatonna.
Sure.
And we operate out of different, we don't have an office, if you will. The national organization will always recognize Owatonna because that is the place that they put the address down. But then Owatonna is merely a link in this whole thing, like Faribault and, you know, all of the rest.
But you don't have a business office that you go to?
I am retired, for me personally, but as a SCORE, no, we do not.
Oh, okay.
No.
You know, but the address that you will see on our business cards and what have you is the Southeastern Minnesota Initiative Foundation. They have allowed us space in their building to house our materials, and they also allow us to have our meetings there.
Okay.
So we have a home without having a home.
You're over with Mr. Penny.
Yes, indeed.
In fact, it was Tim Penny, 2008 or 9, somewhere in that area, that brought a group of people together to say, let's get SCORE reignited again. If we go back in history, I think we'd find that maybe there was a SCORE chapter in Faribault many years ago. And what happens is, as members of SCORE, we stop recruiting people. And pretty soon, the people that are there, the hair gets grayer and more blonde, and before long they're gone, and if we don't recruit someone, it dies. And that's what happened historically. So it's been resurrected again, and Tim Penny was the person that brought that about.
So your counselors are veteran business people?
That's correct. We've all had experience in some form of business. And if it's manufacturing, you see, it would not be me, it would not be Diane,
right.
But we'd find another person, and we have them, who have manufacturing experience.
So we recruit on a regular basis, and we recruit for all genders, all nationalities. We recruit for all business expertises and all ages. At one time, SCORE was all retired people. That is no longer the case. We have many working individuals. We have mentors as young as, well, 30, I'm going to say. So we have people that, it's not just a bunch of retired people.
Sure.
So we don't want anyone to get the impression that, oh, well, they're out of touch or whatever and don't know what's going on today. That's not really the case with our mentors. We have mentors of all age groups.
But again, this is free, so
Mm-hmm.
the mentors or the counselors don't get paid.
No, we do not. No. There is, the SBA funds us just to the point of being able to have some materials, and well, I think it would not be out of line for us to say we get less than $1,000 a year from the SBA. So we just get a taste of money. We don't get much.
Well, obviously, you never have a big conference in our nation's capital, the U.S. Small Business Administration, or anything like that.
And I was thinking of a party, and we don't have that either.
No,
Well, no Christmas parties.
No.
No, there's no bennies to this whatsoever, other than the satisfaction of helping someone.
Let's talk about the special event coming up on September the 30th, the Leadership Connection. You have an author coming.
We do, and I'm going to ask Diane Diane has really been the person that was involved in getting this set up. And before we get too far, we need to also indicate that she is the incoming president of our chapter. And
wow.
So when we're talking leadership, then she's the one.
Thank you, Arlen. I appreciate that, but at the same time, I don't get hung up on titles, so this is of no consequence to me. I am pleased to be the incoming chair.
So this was your idea to bring this guy to Faribault?
I am the committee, yes. Eric Thurwanger, I made a trip up to the Twin Cities to hear him speak. I liked the message that I had read about that he delivers. But I wanted to see if he could engage the audience, because to me, you can have a marvelous message, but if you don't engage the audience, it makes little or no difference what your message is. And he really is a very engaging speaker. And he is an author. He's drafted or written 3 different books on leadership. He is an ex-Marine, and he brings his Marine training into his discussion. And basically, the discussion of is that team is what you need to be. In your workplace, at home, wherever, you need to have a team atmosphere. If you don't, it's I for me and me for me, and that is not how a good business runs. Everyone has to be engaged to the same degree, regardless if you're the last hire or if you've been there 20 years. Everyone needs the same buy-in, and he is going to share with us how to create that atmosphere in your place of business.
This whole concept of team reminds me of when Lou Holtz was the football coach here at the University of Minnesota, and he's a great motivational speaker, and I heard him speak one time about team, individual and team. He said, you take a pencil, a regular wooden pencil, and you can snap it, but give me about 10 of them and wrap them together and see if you can break it. And he said that's what a team does, strengthen. It does all kinds of things that you can't break it down.
And that's basically the message, and what he will explain how to incorporate that into your business. So I believe every business person in Owatonna, Faribault, and Northfield should be there, or other areas as well if you're hearing this message. For just $20, you're going to receive a tremendous message along with lunch. And at the college, it's a wonderful setting for a seminar. And may I mention our sponsors for the seminar?
Sure.
I want to thank our sponsors, Service Master by Ayat, Wells Fargo, Steel-Waseca Cooperative Electric, and Southern Minnesota Media. These individuals have made it possible, or these businesses have made it possible for us to bring this seminar to the area for the benefit of the business people.
And it's on September 30th, 11:30 until 1 at South Central College here in Faribault. That $20 fee includes your lunch and materials. You have a visit with Eric? Have you visited with him?
I certainly have. He's most interesting. He also shares the dilemmas he's gone through in his life. And I don't want to give too much of that away because I'm not sure how much of that he'll share at the seminar. But his wife is a cancer survivor, but she has been stricken with cancer 5 times. And she's only in her early 40s. And so they have lived through this. The one of the times that she was diagnosed, she was pregnant with their second child, and so that was extremely scary for them. You know, the cancer's bad enough, but if you're pregnant and then you're told you have cancer, that's I can't imagine what that's like to go through.
Yeah.
But the power of positive thinking brings them along, and their faith in God, and so he will share a wonderful message, well worth your time to be there.
He's the author of the Think Great collection, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is also the name of his business, the Think Great.
And we should indicate that there are partners with us on this, the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation, the Northfield Area Chamber of Commerce, the Faribault, and the Owatonna Chamber of Commerce. So anyone has questions, they certainly can call the chamber or for registration, any of the chambers, and they will be happy to take the registration.
Right. All of those chambers you can register at.
That's
Yes.
correct.
If you live in Lonsdale, if you live in Kenyon, if you live in Waterville, or Morristown,
334-4381.
is the Faribault Chamber. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, but absolutely, all those communities, we encourage you to join us.
Yeah, Medford. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm just throwing out names here. Cannon Falls,
Yes.
Anywhere, you bet.
Mm-hmm.
small towns around
Wasika.
the KDHL listing area.
Exactly. Which is why we thank you for allowing us to be here with you today.
Well, it should be terrific. The Leadership Connection again on September 30th, 11:30 to 1. You must have a limit to the number of people you can take, though.
Nope. Well, the building will, or the area, I think it holds 200 people. So,
Upper
yeah,
limit,
bring
sure.
bring it on.
Yeah. And who should attend this? Business owners? Should regular employees?
I would say anyone. And you wouldn't necessarily have to be the business owner or the business president or not necessarily your upper leadership. I believe anyone that can spare the time away from the office should be there.
I think if a person has an idea in their head that they'd like to do something, you know, as an entrepreneur and setting up a business, it may be beneficial for them to get this information in advance. It helps them formulate that idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no limitation to who should or could be there. And that's why we kept the cost to a very reasonable amount, so that it would attract any and all economic levels.
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch? We're having boxed lunches from Hy-Vee, and they will be wonderful.
Okay.
Well, you can come.
You know, you can tell by looking at me, I do like to eat. It's one of my favorite pastimes is eating good food. I made myself a meatloaf yesterday.
Ooh. Now, was there anything really unique about your meatloaf?
I don't think so.
But it was good.
It was a new recipe.
Good.
Okay.
It was pretty good, actually.
So thank you for allowing us to be here, and what we certainly are interested in having people get information about this Leadership Connection a date, if you will, which is on the 30th, and we would encourage people to put it on their calendar and let us know by the 28th of September if they could. We have head count that we have to deal with, and it's
Sure.
always nice to be able to have that in advance.
Anytime you're dealing with food, you
Yeah.
have to know how many people
Right.
are coming.
But
so.
I don't think we turn them away if they happen to come on that day, but they may not get their lunch.
If I'm a retired business owner and I'm interested in being a mentor, could I just get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Call any of the chambers that we talked about, or they can go on. The other place is score.org is always a place that people can get it, or for our chapter, it's a South Central Minnesota SCORE chapter, or scmnscore.org will get us to the local chapter.
And didn't you say, Arlen, earlier, I don't know if this was before we went on the air or when we went on the air, that you want to set up a link in Northfield too?
We're working with the Northfield Chamber, and Northfield's part of Rice County.
Sure.
And we serve it now out of Faribault, but it certainly would be nice to get that connection in Northfield, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and as well as there's other areas in our area that we are looking to get links with as well. New Ulm being one, St. Peter, Mankato is a recent link for us. So this is kind of an ongoing situation as to what our reach is and how far we can mentor and things. So it's really kind of unending. I have had clients in Sioux Falls, and but that client, I have to tell you, I did not have to travel to Sioux Falls. They did not travel here to me. We could do it through the internet. They were looking to expand they already had a business in Sioux Falls, and they were looking to expand it into another community in Minnesota. They needed their business plan looked at, critiqued, if you will, before they went to their banker. So they emailed it to me. I critiqued it, sent it back with my suggested changes. They made changes, sent it back to me. So all this took less than 3 weeks, actually. But we made connection probably a half dozen to a dozen times in that time. They took it to their banker, and the next thing I knew, they had their office open in the new community.
Before I let you go, how big does a business plan need to be?
That varies with the business. So there's no pat answer to that, Gordy, but it needs to cover different areas. So you need to be able to tell your banker what your market area is, what your
payroll is,
what your expected income is, what your expected expenses are, where are you going to be located, do you have any sort of a marketing plan in place?
I mean, some businesses, I don't even know how you'd guess what the revenue is going to be.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, but it is a guess. You just kind of give it a shot.
Okay. I've got to go, but I could certainly talk to you guys for another hour, and I'd love to learn more information about business plans. We should do this again sometime, and maybe just talk about, business plans.
Sure.
Right.
How's that sound?
Wonderful.
Sounds good.
I'd love to have you back. Thanks,
Great.
Arlen.
Thank you, Artie.
It's a good meeting
Enjoy
you.
your day. Have a good day today.
Arlen Burmeister, same with you,
Yeah.
and Diane, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much,
It was
Gordy.
certainly a pleasure. Diane Wilson, counselor, Arlen Burmeister, administrator. SCORE is the name of the nonprofit organization, part of the U.S. Small Business Administration. You're in tune to KDHL AM, Faribault, Minnesota.